Feeling so grateful to get to practice with you today. So let's get started in hero's pose. Sitting on our knees. If your knees are sensitive, feel free to find easy pose, crisscross applesauce. And let's begin by feeling into the chest space, into the heart space, and tapping into the energy of what a backbend is, both physically and energetically. And taking a few deep breaths into the heart space, allow the air to rise all the way into the chest, expand from shoulder to shoulder, and sink back into your belly. We'll inhale our arms up towards the sky, palms come to touch at the top, bending at the elbows for prayer behind the head. Prayer hands come between the shoulder blades. You're drawing your elbows back. Expanding from elbow to elbow, deep breath into the chest, allow it to expand, to fill up with air, with prana. And release your arms down to the side, bring them to the low back and interlace your hands. Extend the arms and lengthen them out, drawing the shoulders down the back, squeezing the shoulder blades together. You're opening through the chest, not crunching into the back of the neck. And from here, we'll fold forward. So we're in a modified child's pose where our hands are still interlaced. And you're reaching the hands up towards the ceiling. And then release the hands down to the ground. Allow the shoulders to curl over the thighs, drop down towards the ground. Really heavy body here, creating space in the back side of the body from shoulder blade to shoulder blade, from crown of the head all the way down to the low back. And let's come to standing. Similarly here, we'll inhale the arms up towards the sky and take prayer behind our head, bending at the elbows, placing prayer hands between the shoulder blades, right at the base of the neck, pushing forward with the hands to expand through the chest, and you're drawing the elbows back towards the back side of your room, tucking the belly button to the spine so as not to arch into the low back. Really focus the stretch in the upper back. Release the hands and bring them to the base of the spine, interlace fingertips, this time with the opposite finger being on top, the opposite index finger being on top. Lengthen through the arms, drawing them down towards the ground, drawing the shoulder blades together, shoulders down the back and away from the ears. And we'll start to fold forward, keeping our hands where they are for a forward fold, for a modified forward fold here. Gentle bend in the knees, allow your torso to drape over the thighs, and release your hands. Wrap your arms around the backside of your legs, around the calves, grabbing around the ankles. And let's come back to seated. If you have a wheel, we are going to use our wheel here. If you have any sort of foam roller or a tennis ball, all of those things can be used in the same way here and to accomplish the same thing, just may look a little bit different. So placing the wheel, if you have one, in between the shoulder blades and starting to open up the front side, really open up the front side of the body from shoulder to shoulder, dropping your head back down towards the ground, creating space in the throat area as well. Emphasis on not straining the neck. And we'll roll a few more times here. And you can hold in any position that feels good or in any part of the body that feels like it needs a little extra TLC. And the next time you roll back and your legs are extended, we'll hold with the wheel in the center of our back. Drop your arms down to the ground, palms facing up. And allow your body to just rest fully on this wheel, coming back to the intention of a heart opener, allowing the air, the prana, the chi, the energy to fill up your chest space, to expand your heart space, and release. Sink your hips back towards the ground this time. Our knees are bent and we're opening through our chest. Hands come out to a T, palms face up once more, just for a second, and release and remove the wheel. And we'll roll down onto our spines, Knees are bent and feet are hip width distance apart, and we'll drop our knees from side to side, dropping them from the right to the left side, releasing the low, mid, and upper back. Bringing the knees back through center, we'll take a bridge pose, lifting our hips towards the sky, squeezing the glutes, pushing in to the bottom of the feet. Weight mainly distributed in the heels. You can lift those toes up, spread them really wide, and then plant them into the mat. Drop your hips down towards the ground. Drop your knees over to the right side for a moment. Release through the low back. Breathe into the belly. Full deep breaths. Knees back through center. Drop them over to the left side and hold. Deep breath into the low belly here as well. And knees come back through center. Hands come down to the side, and we'll find another bridge pose. This time interlacing the hands underneath the torso. This time really drawing your arms down towards your feet, lengthening through the arms, drawing the shoulder blades down the back, creating space from the shoulders to the ears. Again, really stretching into the front side of the body. Make sure you're not holding your breath. Release the hands, release the hips down to the ground. Bring your knees into your torso and wrap your arms around them. Roll from side to side, giving yourself a juicy massage in the low back. Let it feel good. Release any tension in the back. And let's roll up and come into a tabletop position where shoulders are stacked over the wrists, hips are stacked over the knees. We'll take a few rounds of cat and cow. Dropping the belly on an inhale, looking forward, and on an exhale, rounding the spine as much as you can. Inhale for cow pose, look forward. Exhale, round the spine for cat. Tuck your chin to your chest. Inhale for cow pose, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and exhale, round the spine. Last cow pose before we start to take some torso circles. So we're flowing through cat and cow, but we're dropping our torso to one side and then the other. So we're really circling our torso all the way around. Switch directions. Get the full range of motion of the spine. Engage the full body. Let the movement feel organic. It may look different than mine. It doesn't need to look exactly like mine. Or anybody else's for that matter. And let's come into puppy pose. Hips stay stacked over the knees. You're going to walk your hands towards the top of the mat and drop your chest and your forehead towards the ground. So really stretching from fingertip through armpits, through the front side of the body, all the way to the hips. Taking a few deep breaths here. You may have to walk your hands out a bit as the front side of your body begins to open up. And let's come onto our fingertips. If you have this space coming onto your chin rather than your forehead, so you're stretching from the chin now to the base of the neck through the front side of the body. And being on our fingertips will also help stretch through the armpits more. And tuck your toes and start to lift your knees off the mat. Drop your knees back down to the ground, and we're going to roll through Sphinx position, forearms planted into the mat. Palms are face down, fingertips facing forward. We're really tractioning back through the forearms so that as you pull back through your hands and your arms, you draw the chest space forward. You open through the heart space. And you're pushing into the top sides of the legs, so you're pushing into the feet so that the knees lift off of the ground. So the whole backside of your body is active here. Then take a deep breath into your chest. Let it feel good. And soften down towards the ground. Release the arms. We'll take a shoulder stretch here, extending the right arm directly perpendicular to the body, directly in line with the shoulder. Palm face down. We're going to roll off onto that right shoulder, take a bend in the top leg, plant the left foot into the ground. We'll be here for a few breaths. You can gently even rock onto that right shoulder, just gentle rocks back and forth. If you'd like a challenge, you can start to lift the left arm towards the ceiling, and you can start to bend that left arm behind your body. Imagine that you're reaching for that right hand so that you can interlace the hands. If you're not there yet, create that mind to muscle action. And we'll roll back through center, switching sides, extending the left arm perpendicular to the body, directly in line with the shoulder. Palm face down, you'll roll off onto the left shoulder. Right knee is bent, foot is planted into the mat. And you can gently rock back and forth on that left shoulder to help it open. Give it a little bit of assistance. Remember to breathe through any discomfort, applicable to everyday life as well. And if you want that challenge, we'll reach the right hand towards the sky, right arm towards the sky, and you can start to drop it back as if you're reaching for the left fingertip so you can interlace the hands. Again, if you're not there yet, create that mind to muscle action. Imagine that your hands are meeting. And let's come back through center. We'll shift into some cobra roll-ups, so bringing your hands underneath the shoulders, forehead to the mat. We'll start to push into the hands, roll up, drawing the shoulder blades together, down the back, roll down. We'll just do a series of these. Each time you come up, you can come a little bit higher than the one before. So we're lifting and lowering. It's a fluid motion, and you're thinking about elongating the backside of the body, not crunching into the backside of the body, but even as you lift up higher, you're still reaching the crown of the head towards the ceiling, creating this long line of energy from the crown of the head all the way down to the tips of the toes. We're still lifting and lowering here. You can start to straighten the arms if you have the space in your back, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Deep breath into the upper chest. Holding for a few extra breaths and pushing into the top sides of the feet and legs to lift the knees. And let's lower down. And keeping your hands where they are, tuck the toes on your exhale, lift up into high plank, and shift back for downward facing dog. Drop the chest towards the mat, and we will roll out into a cobra position. Tuck the chin to the chest, and lift your hips back towards the sky for downward dog. And shifting forward, head and neck come up last, roll into up dog. Knees are lifted, legs are lifted off the mat, and we'll roll back into downward facing dog. And coming high on the toes, shift forward, full range of motion of the body. Head and neck come up last for up dog. Exhale, down dog. Move with your breath. One breath, one movement. And feel free to do that as many times as you'd like, but this is where we will end today. Coming back into seated position, bring your hands to the tops of your legs. Take a few moments to reflect and be present with yourself. And feel free to go into any deeper back bends now that you have warmed up. Wishing you a day filled with health, wealth, and happiness.